lives. That's better. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, my friend. God's blessings upon you. Let's praise the Lord together, my friends. We have all awakened in God's shelter. Now we've come to praise His name together. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good, my friend. My friend. Sing Hosanna. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. In the sanctuary of our Lord's protection and the stronghold of our Lord's defense. With His love, our spirits are illumined as we glorify His name. Our hearts are blessed. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. My good morning, my friend. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. My friend. My friend. Good morning. Good morning. We're going to have a talk with the drummer afterwards. Tell them they can do a little less flourishing at the end. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Hey there, Nene. How you doing, babe?
Good morning.
How you doing, Daryl?
Very good, sir. Thank you.
That's good. That's good. That's good. And good morning to everyone out there. We need to adjust this just a little bit. It's a little too angled up. A little more, a little more, a little more, a little more, a little more. There we go. That's good. That's good. That's perfect. Maybe a little bit more because it went back a little bit. Okay, now that's too much. No, that's okay.
No, that's good.
That's okay. That's good. That's good. That's good. Okay, everyone. Good morning and happy Easter to everyone out there
Happy
that's
Easter.
celebrating Easter. Right now, even as we speak, outside our home, there's an Easter egg hunt going even as we speak. Did you see the even as we speak? So folks are celebrating Easter in different traditional ways, of course. And I'm sure a lot of people, of the Christian tradition are in churches and singing, and which is all very wonderful. When we're praising God in the right way, let's say, we're not out there causing trouble for other people. So it's always a good thing. Let's see. I had to take my glasses off to clean them. Obviously, I'm a little discombobulated here. That's why I started out on the wrong key or the wrong chord. Hello, Ken Bees. How you doing? Ken Bees, you doing well? And Adam?
Good morning. Good morning.
You good, you good, Camby's? That's good. And Adam is with us. Adam still hasn't responded to his answer. Hasn't said a word. Don't know where he is. Don't know what's going on. But good morning, Farah. How are you, Farah?
Fine, thank you. It's good to see you both.
And you too. And Sebede is with us today. Good morning, Sebede.
Good
How are
morning.
you? She's apparently our co-host today.
Excellent.
Yeah. And we have someone whose number is here. We don't know whose number that is, but we welcome you. And let's go ahead and start with a prayer. I was going to say with a prayer. Oh, I didn't know where I'd put my prayer book. I had marked a particular prayer for today. Let's start with a prayer for the triumph of the cause of God. O Lord, provide for the speedy growth of the tree of thy divine unity. Water it then, O Lord, with the flowing waters of thy good pleasure, and cause it before the revelation of thy divine assurance to yield such fruits as thou desirest for thy glorification and exaltation, thy praise and thanksgiving, and to magnify thy name, to laud the oneness of thine essence, and to offer adoration unto thee, inasmuch as all this lieth within thy grasp, and in that of none other. Great is the blessedness of those whose blood thou hast chosen, wherewith to water the tree of thine affirmation, and thus to exalt thy holy and immutable word. And this is a prayer from the Bob. A prayer from the Bob. Now, folks, today's writings, again, as usual, we are studying the proofs of Baha'u'llah's mission, and we are quickly coming to the end of this book, but we've still got a few more chapters to go, But today we are looking at chapter 34. And the name of this chapter, did I say hello to the folks in Facebook land?
No.
I don't believe I did. So hello, everyone in Facebook land. We always like to acknowledge you, whether you are joining us in real time as we're doing this, or choosing to watch this afterwards.
Rose is here.
Rose is here. Hey there, Rose.
Hey, Rose.
How you doing?
Happy
we miss
Easter.
you. We miss you out there. And well, we won't tell the world where Rose is. This is not always a good thing to do.
John Welsh.
Who?
John Welsh.
Who?
John Welsh.
John Walsh. Oh, hi. Well, today's the name of the chapter is The Promise of the Day of God. I'll say that again, The Promise of the Day of God. And this is where Abdul-Baha and Baha'u'llah, most of this is coming from Baha'u'llah, but it starts with a passage from Abdul-Baha, where they point out that there have been many prophecies. When they say the day of God, this is the time we're living in.
Right.
Okay, and there are many prophecies from different prophets, from different religions that point to this time as the day of God. And Baha'u'llah and Abdul-Baha, they lay out evidence, I'll call it an argument, that shows us that this is the day that all of these prophets have foretold. So, that being said, and I should also point out, it's important on this, we've just had Passover and.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
It's always like, this is the day. What is the day?
The day doesn't mean one day, of course. It means the era or the age.
Yeah.
This is that time. Okay, so I'm glad you asked that question because that did need to be clarified. We're not talking about just one 24-hour period. We're talking about the time that has been told. Yes, the age.
Yes.
Exactly. And you're going to hear some names that if you are of the Christian tradition, you'll probably recognize prophets. Okay, one being, of course, Jesus, all righty, but also Joel and Jeremiah, Amos, Isaiah, and even King David. So you're going to hear some names that Baha'u'llah will point out and explain what those prophecies mean. And so I'm going to stop talking about it and let Daryl start reading about it.
Okay.
Okay.
In the divine holy books, there are unmistakable prophecies giving the glad tidings of a certain day in which the promised one of all the books would appear. a radiant dispensation be established, the banner of the most great peace and conciliation be hoisted, and the oneness of the world of humanity proclaimed. I'm going to do that whole line, that whole sentence again.
Thank you.
In the divine holy books, there are unmistakable prophecies giving the glad tidings of a certain day in which the promised one of all the books would appear, a radiant dispensation be established, the banner of the most great peace and conciliation be hoisted, and the oneness of the world of humanity proclaimed. Among the various nations and peoples of the world, no enmity or hatred should remain. All hearts were to be connected one with another. These things are recorded in the Torah or Old Testament, in the Gospel, the Quran, the Zen Avesta, the books of Buddha, and the book of Confucius. In brief, all the holy books contain these glad tidings. They announce that after the world is surrounded by darkness, radiance shall appear. For just as the night, when it becomes excessively dark, precedes the dawn of a new day, so likewise, when the darkness of religious apathy and heedlessness overtakes the world, when human souls become negligent of God, when materialistic ideas overshadow spirituality, when nations become submerged in the world of matter and forget God. At such a time as this, that shall the divine sun shine forth and the radiant morn appear.
Hang on a minute. I figured I'd try and come up with something better than Daryl, I gotta stop. That description that Abdu'l-Baha gives, think about it. Think about what they're saying. And think about the times that we are living in. That didn't just begin, within the last decade. This has been for a while now. The darkness of religious apathy and heedlessness overtakes the world. Human souls become negligent of God. Materialistic ideas overshadow spirituality. Nations become submerged in the world of matter and forget God. If that's not a perfect description of the times that we're living in,
That is.
I don't know what is. I just wanted to kind of emphasize that. Okay.
Hearken unto the melodies of the gospel with
Stop
the
it
ear.
again. This is Baha'u'llah now. He's going to hit me when we're done. But this is Baha'u'llah now.
Hearken unto the melodies of the gospel with the ear of fairness. He saith, glorified be his utterance, prophesying the things that are to come. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, nor the Son, but the Father. By Father in this connection is meant God, exalted be his glory. He verily is the true educator and the spiritual teacher. Now, if you remember, all through this book, the one thing that is common, it says that none of this can happen without a spiritual teacher, without the hand of God. Joel saith, for the day of the Lord is great and very terrible, and who can abide? Who can abide it? Firstly, in the sublime utterance set forth in the gospel, he saith that none is aware of the time of the revelation, that none knoweth it except God, the all-knowing, who is cognizant of all. Secondly, he setteth forth the greatness of the revelation. Likewise, in the Quran, he saith, of what ask they of one another? Of the great announcement, this is the announcement, the greatness of which hath been mentioned in most of the books of old and of more recent time.
I'm going to stop you again there, Daryl, because this is huge, folks. This is huge. This is Baha'u'llah. First of all, he quotes Jesus, of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, nor the Son, but the Father. And then he points out the Father is God. Okay, he points that out. But then he refers to Joel from the Bible. And he says, for the day of the Lord is great and very terrible, and who can abide it? Baha'u'llah then says, firstly, in the sublime utterance set forth in the gospel, he saith, that none is aware of the time of revelation, just like Jesus said, no man knoweth, none is aware of the time of the revelation, that
Except
none
God.
knoweth it except God, who is cognizant of all. But then he says, secondly, and then he makes a reference to the Quran. And he says, likewise, in the Quran, he saith, of what ask they of one another? That's kind of saying, well, what are they asking each other? Guess what the answer is? Of the great announcement. Of what ask they of one another? Of the great announcement. It's that next sentence that blew me away. This is the announcement. This is the announcement. And then he says it again, this is the announcement. So I just wanted to, again, some of this goes by so quickly. It's so quickly stated sometimes, it's easy to miss the significance. Imagine someone telling you that thing you've been waiting for all this time, here it is.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done. I'm going to turn this light.
This is the announcement that hath caused the limbs of mankind to quake, except such as God, the protector, the helper, the succorer, hath willed to exempt. Men have indeed with their own eyes witnessed how all men and all things have been thrown into confusion and been sore perplexed, save those whom God hath chosen to exempt. Save those whom God hath chosen to exempt. O Sheikh, great is the cause and great the announcement. Patiently and calmly ponder thou upon the resplendent signs and the sublime words and all that has been revealed in these days, that haply thou mayest fathom the mysteries that are hid in the books, and mayest strive to guide his servants. Hearken with thine inner ear to the voice of Jeremiah, who says, "Oh, for great is that day, and it hath no equal," talking about this day. Wert thou to observe with the eye of fairness, thou wouldst perceive the greatness of the day. Incline thine ear unto the voice of this all-knowing counselor, and suffer not thyself to be deprived of the mercy that hath surpassed all created things, visible and invisible. Lend an ear unto the song of David, he saith, "Who will bring me into the strong city?" The strong city is Akka, which hath been named the most great prison, and which possesses a fortress and mighty ramparts.
Can I stop you there, Daryl? You mind if I stop you again?
You can stop.
I look at this and I think of, first of all, Baha'u'llah is laying some really, really, really heavy stuff on the listener. This is the announcement. But then he says, he's telling us in speaking to, this is from, I believe, the Epistle to the Sons of Wood. No, from the Kitabi. He's speaking and he says, patiently and calmly ponder.
Yes.
Patiently and calmly ponder. You got to think about this stuff, but you got to think about it. And you have to push aside whatever are your preconceived notions.
Right.
Okay. In a later sentence, he says, "Wert thou to observe with the eye of fairness." If you just be fair in your thinking, again, pushing aside any prejudices, you would perceive the greatness of the day. And he tells him, listen, incline thine ear, and don't let yourself, and he says, suffer not thyself, don't let yourself be deprived of the mercy that has surpassed all created things. he keeps telling him, listen, 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 but listen fairly. Think about it. And, I think that's something that just reading how it is so important. It is emphasized, let's put it that way. It is emphasized that you have to think, you have to ponder, you have to be patient, you have to remain calm and kind of work your way through this. And you have to be fair. You have to be fair. Okay. I'm sorry, Daryl. He looks at me like, you done now?
O Sheikh, peruse that which Isaiah has spoken in his book. He saith, get thee up into the high mountain, O Zion, that bringest good tidings. Lift up thy voice with strength, O Jerusalem, that bringeth good tidings. Lift it up, be not afraid. Say unto the cities of Judah, behold your God. Behold, the Lord God will come with strong hand, and his arm shall rule for him. This day all the signs have appeared. The great city hath descended from heaven, and Zion trembleth and exulted with joy at the revelation of God. For it hath heard the voice of God on every side. This day Jerusalem hath attained unto a new evangel. For in the stead of the sycamore standeth the cedar. Jerusalem is the place of pilgrimage for all the peoples of the world, and hath been named the holy city. Together with Zion and Palestine, they are all included within these regions. Wherefore hath it been said, blessed is the man that hath migrated to Akkad. Amos said, the Lord will roar from Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem. And the habitations of the shepherds shall mourn, and the top of Carmel shall wither. Carmel in the book of God hath been designated as the hill of God, and his vineyard. It is here that by the grace of the Lord of Revelation, the tabernacle of glory hath been raised. Happy are they that attain thereunto. Happy they that set their faces towards it. And likewise he saith, our God will come, and he will not be silent.
Oh, man. You got anything you want to say about any of that, Daryl?
I do.
Yes, please.
As a Christian perspective, why he has to bring out Christian Bible?
Say that again.
Why he has to bring out Christian Bible?
Why does he have to refer to the Bible, you're saying? Oh, man, there's so many different reasons. But I think, and this is just me talking. Number one, because it is a book of God. Some would say the book of God. He says the book of God. I don't know if that's just a reference to the Bible or all the books of God. But he's using previous dispensations, previous revelations, and prophecies to lay out a logical argument that this is that time. And so if you're speaking to people who respect this source, then you refer to that source. You know, he could say, Baha'u'llah could say whatever he wants, manifestation of God. But he's reasoning in a way that shows the lineage and shows the continuance of revelation.
Exactly.
And the fact that prophet after prophet after prophet after prophet names that for anyone who has indeed read the Bible or even portions of it, you either heard those names or you read them yourself. And so he's, he can just say, yeah, I'm it, but he's looking at the material that people respect and recognize and have given often a literal or some other type of interpretation. And he's saying, no, this is what this means. And now it's happening right in front of your faces. and you still don't recognize it.
Yeah, but it's not just the Bible that he references.
Exactly.
He references other holy books. He references the Quran. He references other holy writings
Yes.
to reinforce the point that this is the time. It's just a reinforcement
Yeah.
of that message that says, you know, because each of them says, after me comes another, comes another, comes another. It's a reinforcement of the whole concept of progressive revelation that says, when God made his covenant with man, he said, I will never leave you alone. And for each stage in man's development, he sent a messenger. And those messengers are messengers that we all know. It's Moses, it's Abraham, it's Jesus. It's so in order to make his point here, he has to go back and reference all of those things and saying, because each of them says that as we go forward, there's something else. Here comes something else. Here comes something else. And this is the day when he says man is reaching his spiritual maturity, where he can actually finally understand some of these things.
And exactly.
So,
I mean, when he says the promise of the day of God, this is fulfillment, this is a fulfillment of prophecy. But again, he has to make reference, and again, this is me thinking, this is not me speaking as an authority. He has to make, but I will say this, and I hate to look at my own personal credentials, but being a teacher of speech, I often have to tell my students that you can reference things, but you have to show the credibility of the reference.
right.
And if I can bring this wonderful, these holy writings down to this level, I'll say that's basically what Baha'u'llah is doing. He's showing the credibility of the references that point to this time as the day of revelation, the promise of the day of God, and not just saying, take my word for it. He's not saying just take my word for it. He's showing that there have been prophecies of this time, but you need to understand what they're saying.
Right.
Okay, I see you put your book down. What's it?
That means it's time to do some music.
And I still hadn't decided, man. When I was practicing Akka this morning, and he said, you did that 3 weeks ago. Do you remember doing that?
No.
What else can I say?
Okay, that's okay.
Would you rather do something else?
I don't care.
See, he could do anything.
No, I can't.
I mean, I'll tell you why I chose Akka, and that is because we mentioned Akka, but then you
That's
also
right.
mentioned Mount Carmel.
That's right.
So what do you think about it?
Yes.
Mount Carmel? She likes that. That means I've got to set it up differently. Hang on, folks. Hang on. Oh, man. I'm having problems with the tempo here. I'll tell you what, Daryl, I'll just play something until I get this going. It's not as fast as I like it, but it's good. This is a fun song that references Mount Carmel. I wanna be ready to walk. I wanna be ready to walk. I wanna be ready to walk Mount Carmel like Abdul Baha. I wanna be ready to walk. I wanna be ready to walk. I wanna be ready to walk Mount Carmel like Abdul Baha. I gotta get my feet ready to walk the righteous way, step by step I serve the Lord. Each and every day I gotta get my feet ready to walk the righteous way. Step by step I serve the Lord. Each and every day, 'cause I wanna be ready. I wanna be ready to walk. I wanna be ready to walk Mount Carmel like Abdul-Bahar. I gotta get my hands ready to help my fellow man. Let good deeds keep my adorning. I'll do the best I can. Gotta get my hands ready to help my fellow man. Let good deeds be my adorning. I'll do the best I can, 'cause I wanna be ready to walk. I wanna be ready to walk. I wanna be ready to walk Mount Carmel like Abdul-Bahar. Ready to walk Mount Carmel like Abdul-Bahar. Gotta get my heart ready to share the love of God. Teaches a word that's been revealed by Baha'u'llah. Gotta get my heart ready to share the love of God. Teaches a word that's been revealed by Baha'u'llah. 'Cause I wanna be ready to walk.
I wanna be
Ready to walk.
I wanna be
Ready to walk Mount Carmel like Abdul-Bahar. Said I wanna be ready to walk.
I wanna be
Ready to walk.
I wanna be
Ready to walk Mount Carmel like Abdul-Bahar. Mount Carmel like Abdul-Bahar. Mount Carmel like Abdul-Bahar. I could have sworn you played that with me before.
Never.
You've never heard that song before?
Never.
Never. Actually, you found it and then you put your instrument down. I heard you. I'm admonishing him. I'm chastising him, yes, in the middle of the program. I thought you had heard that.
No.
Okay, so let's do it again.
No.
It's a fun song.
Okay. Time for you to read.
Time for me to read.
Time for you to read.
Uh-huh.
Oh, shake.
Oh, shake. Reflect. Here we go again. Reflect. We've been told to think, we've been told to ponder, we've been told to be fair. And now he's saying, oh, shake, reflect upon these words addressed by him who is the desire of the world to Amos. Now, him who is the desire of the world, all caps. This is God talking to Amos. Reflect upon these words addressed by him who is the desire of the world to Amos. He saith, prepare to meet thy God, O Israel, for lo, he that formeth the mountains and createth the wind and declareth unto man what is his thought, that maketh the morning darkness and treadeth upon the high places of the earth. The Lord, the God of hosts, is his name. He saith that he maketh the morning darkness. Listen to this. He saith that he maketh the morning darkness. By this is meant that if at the time of the manifestation of him who conversed on Sinai, anyone were to regard himself as the true morn, he will, through the might and power of God, be turned into darkness. This is Baha'u'llah giving a warning. He's warning that there will be others claiming to be a manifestation of God, claiming to be, let's say, a second coming, if that's how they understand it. But this is what he's saying. I'm going to read that again. He saith that he maketh the morning darkness. By this is meant that if at the time of the manifestation of him who conversed on Sinai, at the time of the manifestation of him who conversed on Sinai, anyone were to regard himself as the true morn, he will, through the might and power of God, be turned into darkness. And then he says, he, that person that he just referred to, he truly is the false dawn, though believing himself to be the true one. He truly is the false dawn, though believing himself to be the true one. I read this, I don't know how many times, man, and it really hit me hard. And again, no authority here, but it sounds like he's saying there will be others who put themselves forth as the fulfillment of the prophecies. And they'll actually believe themselves to be that, and yet they'll be wrong. He truly is the false dawn, though believing himself to be the true one. Woe unto him, and woe unto such as follow him without a clear token from God, the Lord of the worlds. Now, to me, this is enough to write a whole book on, just that phrase, but I don't have enough knowledge to write that book. But he truly is the false dawn, though believing himself to be the true one. Woe unto him, and woe unto such as follow him without a clear token from God, the Lord of the worlds. Then he makes a reference to Isaiah. And I think it's interesting. Again, we said this earlier on, but again, Baha'u'llah is making references. He refers to Jesus, Joel, Jeremiah, David, Amos, and now he's referring to Isaiah. Isaiah saith, the Lord alone shall be exalted in that day. Concerning the greatness of the revelation, he saith, concerning, let me rephrase, not rephrase it, but put a little emphasis differently. Concerning the greatness of the revelation, he saith, enter into the rock and hide thee in the dust for fear of the Lord and for the glory of his majesty. Enter into the rock and hide thee in the dust for fear of the Lord and for the glory of his majesty. And in another connection, he saith, and this is the one that really got to me. I'll bet you recognize this, Darrell, and not just from reading in the Bible. I don't know about you, but as when I started reading the writings, as just exploring through my own cynicism, exploring the faith, this was shown to me, and I've never forgotten it. And in another connection, he saith, and this is another thing from the Bible, he saith, this is from Isaiah, and in another connection, he saith, the wilderness and the solitary place shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose. It shall blossom abundantly and rejoice even with joy and singing. The glory of Lebanon shall be given unto it, the splendor of Carmel and Sharon. They shall see the glory of the Lord and the splendor of our God. Now, the reason I'm pointing this out, not simply that it's on the page, is I still remember, again, when I first started learning a little bit about the faith, and someone showed me a picture of Mount Carmel. Mm-hmm. Before the shrine of the Bab was built, before things had blossomed on Mount Carmel. And it was barren. It was rocks. It was dirt. It was dust. And I only wish that I could show them now a picture of Mount Carmel. If you don't know what it looks like, I encourage you to just go put Mount Carmel or put Shrine of the Bab, and you will see the
transformation.
Yeah, yes, you'll see the fulfillment of this prophecy. Exactly.
Right.
The wilderness and the solitary place shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose. It shall blossom abundantly and rejoice even with joy and singing. The glory of Lebanon shall be given unto it, the splendor of Carmel and Sharon. They shall see the glory of the Lord and the splendor of our God. And then Baha'u'llah says, I don't need to explain that to you, but this is the way he says it. These passages stand in these passages stand in need of no commentary. They are shining and manifest as the sun, and glowing and luminous as light itself. Here we go again, every fair-minded person is led by the fragrance of these words unto the garden of understanding, and attaineth unto that from which most men are veiled and debarred. And then in two more brief passages, Baha'u'llah says, great indeed is this day. The allusions made to it in all the sacred scriptures of the day of God attest its greatness. The soul of every prophet of God, of every divine messenger, hath thirsted for this wondrous day. All the diverse kindreds of the earth have likewise yearned to attain it. And then finally in this chapter, Baha'u'llah says, the world of being shineth in this day with the resplendency of this divine revelation. All created things extol its saving grace and sing its praises. The universe is wrapped in an ecstasy of joy and gladness. The scriptures of past dispensations celebrate the great jubilee that must needs greet this most great day of God. Well is it with him that hath lived to see this day and hath recognized its station. Now, we can look at all the terrible things that are happening and say none of this is true. Or we can look beyond that and look at scripture and look at the good things that are happening as well. Baha'u'llah told us that, it's a combination of construction and destruction all happening at the same time as we advance towards, the establishment of the kingdom of God on earth. But this, he is saying, is the day of God that hath been foretold by all the prophets and all previous dispensations. He mentioned earlier on, at least Abdul Baha mentioned the Torah, the gospel, the Quran, the Zindab Avesta. I had to look that up. That's actually from the writings of Zoroaster.
Right.
Okay. And he refers to the Buddhist writings and also Confucius. And again, they're all saying there's going to be this time. This is that
This
time.
is the time.
This is that time. At this time, we're going to go ahead and pause and have some prayers and readings, and hopefully a song for our Camby's moment. Do you have something to share with us today, Camby's?
Sure.
Turn down the echo just a tiny bit, just a bit.
خدایا این طیر حدیقه فن را بال و پر عطا فرما و این پروانه شمع محبت را قرب منزلت احسان کن سرگشته صحرای عشق را به خلوت خانه نایت دلالت کن و این تشنه بادیه هجران را به بحر لقای روحانی بکشان. این بنده قدیم را ندیم بزم الطافت کن. و این فقیر مسکین را به غنای حقیقی مستغنا گردان.
Thank you, Kambi. Is there anyone else who would like to share?
The whole earth is now in a state of pregnancy. The day is approaching when it will have yielded its noblest fruits, when from it will have sprung forth the loftiest trees, the most enchanting blossoms, the most heavenly blessings. Immeasurably exalted is the breeze that wafteth from the garment of thy Lord the glorified. For lo, it hath breathed its fragrance, and made all things new. Well is it with them that comprehend. Baha'u'llah.
Thank you, Farah. Is there anyone else who would like to share? Oh, friends, it is truly, truly, truly a joy to be able to come and share with you, as we always try and do. And we've been doing this for now over 2 years. I keep saying we're going to be going back to the center, and it's got to happen. I don't know when, but it's going to happen. I think it's important that we point out the conferences. You think? Sure. For anyone who doesn't know what I'm referring to, and I'm sure some of you out there in Facebook land probably don't, all around the world, some of these have already happened, but all around the world, in places where Baha'is reside, we're having conferences, but these conferences aren't just for Baha'is. They're for anyone who wants to contribute ideas for improving our communities. Or, as is often the term that's often used, is building vibrant communities. And while we are so fortunate and blessed to have these writings of Baha'u'llah, and we're fortunate to have the guidance of the House of Justice, what we're often told is you have the information you need. You have to have the will, and you have to use your own ideas, because you're not always going to get it right. But until you start trying, nothing is going to happen. And so what we as Baha'is are doing, what the Baha'i community around the world is doing, is holding conferences, and not closed conferences, totally inclusive of anyone who wants to attend and share their ideas and hear the ideas of others, for the purpose, hopefully, of joining our efforts together and contributing something truly positive to our own, in our own communities around the world.
Like next Saturday,
Say that again?
like next Saturday.
Yes,
Like next Saturday
yes, next Saturday.
at the Tampa Baha'i Center,
Mhm.
starting at 9 a.m. in the morning. The event will be held. The address for the Tampa Baha'i Center is on Nundy Road in Tampa. And the event will be held in a tented area outside the Baha'i Center. It'll start at 9 a.m. in the morning, so you might want to get there a little before that. And it will go until 8, and then it will go on again the next day on Sunday morning. So
And they have a dinner there Saturday
yes,
night.
meals will be provided during the day, over the course of the day.
That is for everybody. not
It's
just
for
Baha'is,
everybody,
It's
not
for
just
everyone.
Baha'is. It's for everyone.
And it's important to point out that, why do I have to make things silly all the time? It's important to point out that, even if you don't have any ideas, maybe you just need some food. And you can come, enjoy a meal, hear other ideas, other people's ideas, hopefully, and maybe even have your own, creative juices tweaked or at least kicked into gear. And
Just to support a community.
exactly, and if nothing else, to come and support
Like what
community effort.
Darryl will say.
Share the love.
It's not time for that yet. isn't it?
It is. It's
I
always
mean, it's time to
for
share the love, but not to say it yet. But yes, and here on the other side of the bay, here in Pinellas County, we're going to have conferences as well. Ours are next month, though.
In May.
Yeah, in May.
May 16th.
Uh-huh.
So the earliest one coming up is the one next Saturday in
Yes.
Tampa.
Yes, and so again, I really, if you're looking for some place to do, or some ideas, again, to help, contribute to the building and maintaining, the word that keeps being used is vibrant communities.
And it's time to get out of the house.
Absolutely. And let's face it, with the things that are going on around the world, certainly we know about the war. We should say wars, because there are other wars going on, folks. This is just the latest one that, is so big that all of a sudden it's all over the news and so forth. And not to say it shouldn't be, it certainly should, but we also need to remember there's a lot of other stuff going on. And we could even, if we didn't even want to bring up the wars, we could bring up just general incivility that seems to have become such a common thing. And here we are, hopefully attracting people, whether you're Baha'i or not, that will come and share ideas and help create more positive experiences and support for ourselves and for each other in our communities. And that's so important. That's so important. And if you are someone who would like to know more about the Baha'i faith, there are some definitive websites that we always like to remind people of.
And they are www.baha'i.us, www.baha'i.org, www.bahaiteachings.org. And if you happen to be in the Tampa Bay area and would like to join or learn more about the Baha'i faith, you can always go to the Clearwater Baha'i site, which is www.clearwaterbaha'is.org.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, and that's just to let you know that this event that we do every Sunday here is it's put on by multiple communities.
Yes.
From not just here in Odessa, is that where we are?
He doesn't even know where we are. Wow, he
Old
comes here
Smart.
every Sunday. Old Smart.
But it's put on by communities from all over this area and joined by people from all over the country. So, time for us to end this. Thank you all for joining us. Hopefully you'll be back next week and the week after that. So, shall we?
As the light, and as splendid as the fire that blazed in the burning bush. The brightness of the fire of your love